During my recent trip to Paris, France, I visited the Louvre and Versailles. While most people are captivated by the paintings, I found myself completely obsessed with the frames. All the intricate details, everything about them. Is it weird that I was more enamored by the details of the frames than the paintings themselves? Anyway, inspired by these antique frames, today I'm going to show you how to create a dupe of your own for a fraction of the cost that will be perfect for your gallery wall. The antique frames I saw in Paris were works of art. I couldn't wait to bring the antique charm into my own home. Now, with the IOD Trimmings 4 mold, I'm going to show you how to recreate the antique frame. So, we're going to have the Iron Orchid Designs new mold, the Trimmings 4. I found a piece of art just at my local estate sale. You can use anything to frame. And then, of course, I've got my air dry clay, a palette knife, cornstarch, and a little brush to put it on. And then I have an old frame, but I also have a canvas. This is where the dupe comes in. Now, if you have a hard time finding an old frame, and they're not easy sometimes. See, like this would fit perfectly in here, but this is not really, I want to save this for something different. I want to show you today a dupe because anybody can do this. What it is we're going to take this canvas, and I know you've seen this before. This is where you just simply rip off the canvas, take out all the staples, and then you're left with this. Now, I could absolutely just stain this, frame it, bam, done. But that's not the look we're going for. We want to go for this look. And how we're going to do it today is we're going to be using the Trimmings 4 mold. We're going to be focusing on this one. Now, I've already cast this one in resin, and it's going to be perfect right on this mold. And if you notice, there is little indentions, so they're going to butt up perfectly to each other, so there will not be a seam. Now, the resin, I'm not going to be able to cut, and it's going to be a little stiff, so that's why I'm choosing to use the air dry clay. There are several different mediums you can use with the molds. There's Formflex, there's plaster, there's cement, Julie concrete cement. There's just a lot. So, but today we're going to be using the air dry clay. So what I'm going to do is normally I would, take some time to make sure that this was all painted and beautiful. But since we're putting the clay on top, I really don't need to do that because I'm going to be covering the whole entire thing to look like it's a very old antique gilded frame. So let's get started. So let me open up my clay. Now I'm not exactly sure how much clay I'm going to need. So we're going to start with one. Oopsies. All right, so I'm just going to play with it for a second, make sure it's really pliable. And for something like this, I'm definitely going to want to roll it out because if I roll it out, it'll make it be able to smush better in here. Now, I really don't think I need the cornstarch because there's really no intricate parts that might tear off. Like on this one, definitely because there's some little pieces here. But this one's kind of more uniform, so I'm going to try the first one without the cornstarch, and let's see how it goes. All right, so I'm just going to stick this in here and push it out. The nice thing about these IOD molds is it does tell you, if you want to take the time, you can measure your clay, and it has the grams on here, or if you're using resin or another pouring medium, it does have the milliliters and how much you need. Me, I typically just eyeball it. Okay, so I'm making sure I push down because I want to make sure I get all of these details. Now these are not meant to look perfect because the old frames parts of them are chipping off. They looked weathered. They look like they've been around for years. And we're going to do some of that when we paint it too. Okay, so now I'm just going to simply take my palette knife, lightly cut across. What I don't want to do is push too hard where it takes the clay out. Okay, so I'm just going to smooth it down so there's no bumps. Make sure the edge is really defined, and I'm going to pop this out. Let me move this out of the way. I find the easiest way to do this is just to flip it over and slowly roll it out. And voila, look at that. That is just absolutely gorgeous. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it on here. Now I can either go up against the lip here and leave the lip in case I want to paint it a different color. And then I could wrap the other around. Or I can take it and just wrap it around here. Or I can cut it to fit perfectly in there. So let's take a peek. Let's practice. If I do this, I can definitely wrap it. I can wrap it on the outside. I need one for this side. I'm going to take all these pieces off one by one and glue them on. So my glue of choice is going to be the Pentart Heavy Body Gel. Pentart products are amazing. They have a whole line of everything you need for crafting. I know if I use the Pentart glue, it's not coming off. Plus with the Pentart glue, it's thicker, so it kind of fills in gaps and cracks. I've been able to lay it out better, but this was just the way that I thought of when I was deciding. When this project came to mind, I got so excited, I just went for it. I didn't really think about the layout and stuff, except for I knew what my wanted my desired look to be. So, all right, so we're gonna put this back on. Again, I'm not stretching the clay. I'm bending it as lightly as possible. I don't want to stretch the clay a lot because it will crack. If you're interested in any of the Pentart products, I have started a Pentart playbook. It's in my group on Facebook. It's called Shanna's Makers and Creators, and each month I'm covering a different section of products. It includes a video and a download so you can take notes, and you can print it out and have yourself your own playbook of what all the different Pentart products are. They offer so many, and I tell you what, they're very versatile, but they're just fun, and they're great to have in your arsenal. Start with the corner piece. The way these corners lay together, you can't even really tell. Now I think that I could have used just one brick of the IOD clay. I have it fatter in a few areas or thicker. If I would have made sure it was more uniform, I surely could have just used one on here. Okay, so on this corner, because of the way it fell in the pattern, I'm just going to use this little piece here and just stick it here. So there we have it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to let this clay dry and the glue, and we're going to see where any of the gaps or holes may be, and then we'll decide if we need to fill them or leave them, and then we're going to get our paint on. And look at this. Let me see if I can grab this. Right over the old painting. Look at how beautiful that's going to be. The clay on our frame is dry. So you can see there's gaps where I put it together, but that's okay because I'm going to show you how to fill these in. It did split in one area here, but that kind of looks just like what would happen to an old frame. So let me show you how to take care of these gaps. So you're just going to take some air dry clay, and we're just going to simply use our finger to fill in the gaps, pushing the clay in. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this to every place that we feel we need to cover or fill in. We're not going to do them all because some of the older frames will have some pieces that have fallen off, but we definitely want to do this one because you can see where the line was. Wiping back and away any extra clay. I only want it where there was the crack. So you can see it right there. Now, some of these are going to be just okay. They're going to be fine. You can fill them if you want to. I just don't think we need to. And if I'm missing any on the outside, for me, it's just going to be more like the frame, maybe fell and something chipped off. But this, to me, is absolutely perfect. I love where it's headed. Look at that. What a difference. If you feel this frame is not decorative enough for you, or you want it to look a little bit more just different, let me show you what you can do with some of the other molds to make this frame, to dress it up a little bit more. Like you can take the Classic Elements mold, and there are all different characteristics on here that you can add right to it. Let's go ahead and try this one. Let's do this one right here. Cast a few things from like the Classic Elements, and we could add these to the, look at that. Great, the frame is done, it's dried, and it's ready to be painted. I thought about doing an antique gold, but I think I'm just going to use this one, and I can always add the dark wax too. So the frame is all dry, but it looks too shiny to be an old antique frame, because look at that. So what we're going to do is we're going to warm it up a little bit, antique it. It's going to take some wax, and I have my rag here, so I'll wipe it back. Start over here. Trying to make sure I push the wax down into the crevices. This to me looks a little bit more antique. I absolutely love it. So while the frame is drying, I'm going to use the canvas part that came off of the frame, and I'm going to put my picture on it. It's going to use some double-sided tape. This will give me something to attach the picture on the back. Now, in a lot of frames, you're going to see the dust. Dust inside the frames from just years and years of dust. This is what helps the frame look like it's antique. I'm just taking it and pushing it into the wax. So we're just going to let this sit for a little bit, and then we're going to shake it off and rub it back. All right, let's shake it off. First, you need to get all the excess off. And then you just take a cloth and you just want to rub it. Then the final touch is the wax, just on the tops. Now it's ready. This project reminds me the beauty is in the details. If you're inspired to try this yourself, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any future DIYs.